Thanks for watching my video. Today we are going to drain the automatic transmission fluid out of a 2013 Cadillac CTS. So this CTS at this time has 30,000 miles on it, and I just pulled the plug and I'm going to let the fluid drain out of the bottom. This is going to take you probably about 10 or 15 minutes to get most of the fluid out. The reason I'm draining the fluid at 30,000 miles is I just want to see how dirty it really is myself. Normally I buy cars with higher mileage, 60 to 100,000 miles, and as soon as I get them home, I drain all the fluids out, replace everything, and just do a good checkup on the car, because I drive a lot and I need to have my cars very reliable. And when I get rid of a car, it normally has a bunch of miles on it. But this car was traded into a local BMW dealership. It had 27,000 miles on it when the lady traded it in. The tires were bald, so the BMW dealership did have to put new tires on it. So I got a car with 2.5 years of Cadillac premium warranty and new tires for a fraction of the cost of what a new Cadillac CTS costs. Anyway, so as you see, the ATF is slowly draining out, and while it does this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to loosen all the bolts on the pan. The best way to do this is just slowly go around and loosen all the bolts, and the pan will eventually break free from the transmission, and then you remove the bolts at the back of the pan first, so the pan will kind of tilt. And the goal of this is to keep the pan tilted back, and any excess fluid will flow out of the back of the pan. If you've ever done an older car that doesn't have a drain plug, you kind of understand what I mean. You had to take all the bolts out and you did it at an angle so the fluid would drain out and you wouldn't be wearing it at the end of the project. So some of these pan bolts are a pain in the ass to get to. So why am I changing this at 30,000 miles? I wanted to see how bad the automatic transmission fluid is in a car with lower miles. And as you'll see once I drop the pan, it's kind of depressing. From now on, any car I have, I'm definitely going to start changing the fluids at 25 or 30,000 miles as far as the automatic transmission goes. No longer are the days when you buy a car and there is a dipstick in the engine compartment where you can reach down and just pull the dipstick out and take a white cloth or something and wipe the dipstick clean and see that the cloth actually has a pink fluid on it. So I was disappointed when I was draining out the fluid out of this pan. You clearly saw that it was brown. It was the wrong color. It really, automatic transmission fluid really shouldn't be that dark of a brown for only 30,000 miles. I know the car wasn't abused. It's not the 6.0. It's just a luxury version. So I'm pretty sure that the previous owner wasn't beating on the car. Anyway, as you see, the fluid's starting to flow out of the back of the pan. This is good. This is what I want to see. That fluid's draining down onto the pan on the floor instead of on me. So at least I'm staying clean at this point. And as I'm removing these bolts at the front of the transmission, you can see the back of the transmission is starting to fall further down. The nice thing that Cadillac did do is where the pipes, the exhaust pipes come together, it's right under the pan. So when you're removing the bolts at the front, the back of the pan will actually rest on your exhaust. So I kind of felt that was a bonus. I'm just going to say that I think somebody at GM knew what the hell they were doing when they put this car together. And we must have asked some mechanics questions of what would make the job a little bit easier. I'm also one of these people that does not like doing the transmission flush at the dealership or any transmission place for that matter. I don't think that the transmission flush actually takes into account what it actually does to the seals. I had a Durango back in the day that Dodge said that I needed to do a transmission flush at 50,000 miles. And instead of doing it myself, I went ahead and I let them do it because it was fairly cheap. It was only like $50 for them to flush my ATF, so I was good with that. And needless to say, pretty much every one of my transmission seals leaked after that. There was always a puddle of ATF on the floor in my garage, and it really pissed me off. But it did me a favor because now it made me go out and buy a Nissan Titan, and that truck's probably the best vehicle I've ever owned. But another thing that an automatic transmission flush doesn't do, which dropping the pan does, is when you drop the pan, you can pull the filter out of the bottom of the transmission. So not only did I drain the fluid out of the system, everything but what's in the torque converter, obviously you can't get that out, but that's okay. This was about 5 quarts of automatic transmission fluid that got replaced. What you're seeing dripping now is the automatic transmission filter. So a bonus to this is I replaced that filter at the same time. You can't do that with the flush, and all that crap that's in the filter gets pushed back through the transmission when they're flushing it. Not good. Now you can see the crap that I'm talking about. So we're looking at brown automatic transmission fluid in the bottom of the pan. This is the magnet. All that black crap that just came off the magnet is metal shavings. So you can't get the metal shavings out of the bottom of your pan with a flush. You can't get all the debris and crap that's the crud that's stuck to the sides and bottom of the pan with just a flush. Sure, you get fresh automatic transmission fluid into your system, but you're not getting all this black crap off the bottom of the pan. So that's why I like dropping the pan. This wasn't that hard of a job. It was a pain in the ass to get the fluid back into the transmission. This doesn't have a filler plug. I was hoping that this transmission's filler plug was going to be like what a Corvette has on the side of the transmission. It has a little plug at the top, and you just pop that plug, and then you can pump new fluid in. This didn't have that. I had to do it through the drain plug, and that's how you're going to have to do it too if you decide to do this. So get yourself a good pump to pump the fluid up, and all I did was took a rubber nipple that fit into the drain plug, and I pumped in the amount of automatic transmission fluid which I drained out. I measured it before I started filling the transmission back up. So I put in the same amount as what I took out, and then if you've ever done a transmission like this with the car up in the air and level, you start the car up and you climb back underneath the car and you pull your drain plug out of the transmission. If automatic transmission fluid doesn't drain out, then you need to add more until some drips out. If it starts pouring out while your engine is running, if it's coming out, let it come out until it stops, until it turns into a drip. Then put your plug back in, and your automatic transmission has the right amount of fluid in it. But now you can see that my pan is clean, the magnet's back in place, everything's ready to reassemble. I hope this gives you a pretty good idea of what's entailed by dropping the pan on a Cadillac CTS. And I just want to say thank you for watching my video, and I apologize for not doing a video of reassembling everything, but I just needed to get the job done quick and didn't want to mess with the camera. So thanks again for watching.